welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network. You can follow us on our YouTube channel as well at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined occasionally by my football gurus, Paul and Ian. Let's get to it. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Another Rams Up Roundtable here. What's going on, Ian?
Doing good, gents. Summertime. It's hot. Everyone out there at the campus for training camp, I tip my hat to you, man. I've heard it's been a burner and it's been slammed. So, hey, do your best. Stay hydrated. Whoever's going to continue to go to camp. And we appreciate you guys making the trip out there and showing the support to the Rams Nation in person. Hell yeah.
Yeah, talking about hot. Paul, you were just in Arizona for a few days. Huh? You back home now?
Ooh, holy cow. Man, you talk about desert heat. Holy cow, man. 100 plus every day.
Ooh.
You know, talk about living in the shade. But, you know, It's bittersweet because, every day closer to September means summer's, slowly ticking away. And now we're starting to see the back to school commercials. It hurts me. It hurts me in here.
Yeah, I know. We were talking earlier. It's like I went to the store the other day and why is all this Halloween stuff out?
I know, they get it out there early.
Oh, man.
I know.
Enjoy August, people. Enjoy August, Ram Nation.
You know, and they make the Halloween decorations today are not what I grew up with. They're pretty intense, but and probably expensive too. I didn't look at the price tags because I wasn't interested. But hey, the first thing I wanted to talk about, just on a fun note, a kind of irritating note, these Madden ratings, Kyren and Puka. Kyren coming in as the 18th rated running back. Puka, the 32nd ranked wide receiver. How annoying is that, Ian?
You know, it's a video game. So EA has had a bad reputation for quite a while with their game design for a lot of the sports games, Madden particularly. Tons of football fans have complained about Madden ratings, physical gameplay mechanics, game modes. I mean, Madden's just been on a wishy-washy with the fan base, Rams fan base, football fan base, NFL fan base for forever. So hopefully the update when the season starts, because, there is periodic updates to teams, to players, who's available, who's not, who's traded, who ends up being good, who ends up being way worse. So hopefully the update reflects Puka and Kyren being top 100 players in the NFL, right? I mean, golly.
Are you a Madden player, Paul?
Used to be, not so much now, but the ratings have always been off. Ian's spot on. So EA Sports, if you're listening, Ian would be a great consultant.
Well, my special assistant, and maybe we should gather some data on this, but he is convinced that this is a trend, an anti-Los Angeles Rams trend. And his theory is that there's maybe some 49er homers in that analytics department.
It's not impossible, Mark.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, these numbers, just, if one of them was way off, okay, but both of them, that's just crazy. But hey,
but we have to look at the positive. There's always a silver lining. We don't want any Rams on the cover, right, Ian? Right?
Well, I think we dodged
curse.
I think Cup was going to be on the cover, but we still got cursed that following year anyway. The 2023, the 2022 season. So the Madden curse came for us somehow, some way, and whatever. It's done with. We'll probably never get another player on the cover unless Puka breaks records again, which then he'll probably will get on. He's definitely a big candidate now that Aaron Donald's no longer on the team, which is crazy. Aaron Donald never on a Madden cover. Jeff, come on, EA. What happened anyway? But it's better for the Madden curse.
Yeah, Puka is the 32nd ranked wide receiver on Madden.
Dumb.
And his peers vote him as the 33rd best player. I think it was 33rd best player in the league. And we have 4 Rams all on the offense in that top 100 now. Cup, Puka, Kyren, and Matthew Stafford. Not too shabby.
Yeah. So who is it? Puka at number 33. We got Matthew Stafford at number 42. Cooper Kupp at 69. And then we have Kyren at 78. So those are the top top Rams as of right now. I know Aaron Donald probably will not make this appearance because he is now retired. This is a projection list. Usually, everyone who's not familiar with this top 100, it is the top 100 players of last year going into this upcoming season. So because Aaron Donald is retired, I assume he will not be on this top 100 list because he will not be playing next year unless, there's a good playoff run happening. But we'll see. But if Puka ends up being the highest, cool. At least we got some Rams making noise and impact players. And I think that list matters more than, again, the unupdated Madden ratings. Come on, EA. Get those updates.
Yeah, and I figure, Paul, where do you think Kobe would be on this list? In the top 150, probably, right?
I'm surprised. Well, he's a rookie, so I think because
Right.
of that, he didn't crack the list. But if you go by his play last year,
Yeah.
it definitely
It should
warrants
be.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he would probably be somewhere. I think in the top 115, no question
Yeah.
about it.
And
I would say people would be hard pressed to find additional D tackles to rank
real.
over him. So
Yeah, and
straight beast.
another Rams that might get some votes. Maybe Kevin Dotson. Maybe who else? Maybe Ernest Jones. But maybe
O
not
linemen
this year.
and inside linebackers never get love unless
Never
you're
get
an
enough
all-pro.
respect.
Unless
Absolutely.
you're an all-pro, then you maybe will get in the top 100. It's a lot of skill player stuff. It's how
Yeah,
it
I
is.
forget who it was. One of the websites today. God, who was it? They called out Ernest Jones. It was the same guys that wrote that had the YouTube video about the Rams being the
A model
best run
franchise.
franchise. Yeah, they also said that Ernest Jones is one of the 5 most underrated players in the league
He's
right now.
fantastic.
By
Should have been a
far.
Pro Bowler last year. Should have been a Pro Bowler last year.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, it's another problem. Pro Bowl is a fan vote now, or half fan vote, half legit voting. Writers, other players, executives. So it's all
And
messed up, man.
let's put this out there right now. Ernest Jones has been handling this whole situation with the contract with such class.
Yeah,
Right? You talk about a real team leader. Shout out to EJ53.
Shout out to him,
That's what that's what a team leader's all about, man. I hope he's a Ram for a very, very long time. And the fact, and obviously we won't talk about it now, but we got a little tidbit of information we thought was really, really interesting about his weight and how they're going to be utilizing him this year.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about some individual players, how they're doing in camp, and the one guy. We've talked a lot about wide receivers, and we've talked about 6 guys basically. And shame on me, maybe I have been totally ignoring Xavier Smith, and then he has a really big day in camp. I assume you guys heard about that.
Mm-hmm.
Catching some bombs from Jimmy G. We've forgotten about him. Maybe Xavier Smith has a chance of making this roster, huh?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you talk about people being, just screaming out his name. He had a great start to camp. He played well in limited spots last year. Ian and I were talking about it. He also has punt return and kick return capabilities. And we did say when we were going through, the roster, we did say that was one of the roster battles to watch, right? Xavier Smith making himself and the Tyler Johnson, right? That part of it. I think Xavier Smith is definitely going to find his way. How much playing time he gets is a different story. But, he had a great career at Florida A&M. So I think he scored an overall total 30 TDs in 4 years. So the kid was a machine, man. He put up some really nice numbers. He definitely has ability, runs good, crisp routes, and he's explosive. So I think, he's a nice complement to the rest of the Ram receivers. The Rams have those big body receivers. And with Tutu and Xavier, I think that's a nice sort of complement to the rest of the room. So I think it's going to be Xavier Smith and Tutu rounding out this wide receiver room.
So, Ian, you think they could carry 7 wide receivers?
Based on how important the wide receiver position is for this offense, full-time wide receiver, know all positions, and then halftime or a part-time, fullback, lead blocking on D linemen and linebackers. So with as many wide receivers who can play, the better, because the wear and tear of being a starting wide receiver in this Sean McVay offense is for real. And it happens every year. People are going to go down. It's inevitable. We hope not. But the more guys that can play and can play every position, X, Z, F, whatever you want to call it, outside, inside, slot, whatever name you want to throw on it, the better for this offense. So he has a chance. I mean, it's all about preseason ball and what he does in practice, and most importantly, the joint practices where he's up against other second string, third string guys. If he's beating those guys, then he has a great chance to make this roster and make the 53. So we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
and I know Tutu has announced that he is the kick returner, but maybe Xavier Smith will have something to say about it.
Oh, yeah, there needs to be a depth chart on that too, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
like that needs to be, because I mean, guys could go down on that easily in this kick return. So it's going to be very run game centric, schematic wise, right? So,
and we talked about that last segment, that there are going to be so many special teams opportunities. It makes a lot of sense that Xavier Smith would find his way onto the roster. So that's something. Special teams is going to be highlighted this year for all teams across the NFL.
So another guy I wanted to talk about. Well, let me introduce this way. I've been doing my roster lock segments occasionally, and at the tight end position, I had talked about the two obvious ones: Colby Parkinson and Davis Allen. Tyler Higbee's not going to be ready to go, and I've kind of had Hunter Long on the fence. Not sure what to do with him, but I'm not sure there's really anybody that can press him for that third spot. And someone wrote to me on the channel on my email address today saying, hey, no one except me, I guess, is even mentioning Hunter Long. And it's a shame because he's actually, could be a really productive player. And then today, or was it yesterday, he had a beautiful toe tap touchdown in the end zone. Is Hunter Long on this roster for sure? I guess that's my question.
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No question about it. He's the perfect complement to that room. Absolutely. If Higbee, look, I don't think it's a stretch to say that Higbee's, a long shot to make it back by, let's say, week 7, right? That injury, there's no reason to rush him back. Davis Allen has shown that he is a talented pass catcher who's making strides in his blocking. That's the one area that he needs to shore up. Kobe's just Parkinson's just he's just an absolute beast, right? He's happy to be home. And Hunter Long is just that quiet lunch pail guy that, listen, you talk about a string of bad luck. If there's anybody who deserves it, and, he's such a good fit. He's such a great team player. He's selfless. He does, he's happy to go out there and do the dirty work. He's just a perfect fit for the roster. So absolutely, as long as he's healthy and his body is sound, yeah, he's on the roster.
Yeah, that was one of the saddest moments last season when he got hurt after it looked like he was finally going to get his chance, and he quickly went down. You agree with Paul's assessment, Ian?
I do. I mean, I just hope everyone just stays healthy and can perform. I mean, guys, I'm getting live updates right now about Jonah Jackson holding his arm and leaving practice right now. People are telling me. So, at the end of the day, can everyone just make it through practice? We got a lot of stuff going on. We'll get into some other big signing that happened and some other injuries that have been happening going on. But at the end of the day, gentlemen, whoever is out there, let's just stay healthy. And when you have your opportunity, make the most of it, right?
I hope Jackson's okay. We do.
Sorry to drop the downer, but my buddy had texted me. He's like, "Oh, I'm listening to ESPN LA radio right now." And he said Jonah Jackson left practice, like holding his arm. So who knows where that's going to be? But while we're on that subject, I mean, hey, we signed a guard who is very talented, but we all knew he had durability concerns, right? He's missed at least 4 games the last 2 seasons. And that's maybe a partial reason why the Lions weren't all in on trying to re-sign him. They did want to re-sign him. He's obviously a very talented and a Pro Bowl level guard. But, hopefully it's nothing serious. Hopefully it's a stinger. Because I've had one of those where your arm goes numb and you're like, oh, crap, what's happening? And then, over time, give it a week or 2, it'll heal up and you'll be ready to go. Hopefully that's Jonah Jackson's case, because we paid that man a lot of money to blow people up for us in the trenches. And if he's not around, things change drastically in the O-line up there. So,
yeah, at least it's now, whatever it is, it's a few weeks out from opening day. So hopefully he can get back.
Fingers crossed. Again, sorry for the downer, but that's his buddy's.
Yeah, hey,
blowing my phone up.
Breaking news here. That's fine. Okay, moving on from the tight ends. Hey, Ian, you like this new cornerback we grabbed, Jerry Jacobs? We haven't talked about him yet, have we?
We have not. Well, speaking of this injury nonsense going on, I mean, man, oh man, we get a couple of days of training camp and things are just falling apart, it seems like. So if Darrell Kendrick tears his ACL, what an unfortunate reality. A lot of the coaching staff, a lot of players have said Darion is one of the most improved players through the offseason program. And that the coaching staff was trying to find a role for him. They thought he had improved so much that they said, hey, we shouldn't keep Darion off the field, which is why we heard the rumors of him at the big nickel, why we heard him at the star, why we heard him at the dime linebacker, right, gentlemen? We heard those rumors. We were like, really? Him at those spots? I wonder what's up with that. They really liked his progress, and it seemed like he was going to play some significant snaps. So he tears his ACL. Incredibly unfortunate and sad to hear that. Then our other prized signing of the offseason, Darius Williams, welcome back, pulls his hamstring on the first day of training camp. And it seems not to be incredibly serious, but hammies. For anyone who's ever pulled a hammy, if you've been in sports, whether it be any level, that takes some time to heal. So it's better that happen now than later down the road where his week 1 status would be in serious jeopardy. So because of those other two, that sucks, injuries that happen, we signed the former Lion, who was incredibly, incredibly familiar with Aubrey Pleasant, former Lion, who's now back with us as well, our defensive backs coach. And that has all to do with it, right, gentlemen? Familiarity. Can you do what we're asking, which obviously Aubrey Pleasant is leading that room? And, he started a ton of games for the Lions. His best season was in 2023, this last year. Was it perfect? Did we make fun of the Lions secondary every now and then? Yes, but he did have a lot of fantastic moments. Career highs in tackles, career highs in interceptions, career highs in batted passes defended. So he can play. So for him to be a rotational player or a backup, or if he has to fill in last minute where there's compounding injuries or people miss because of whatever during the season, this is a solid signing. Would I have preferred Ahkello Witherspoon? Of course. He was our best corner last year. And I'm sure why he's not signed is because he wants starter money. He probably looks at what Trey White got and what Darius Williams is like, hey, I deserve $10 million at least a year, right? And how can you disagree with that, with the way he played? Was it perfect all year round? No. Was he an all-pro? Of course not. But Ahkello was a damn good corner. But for the vet minimum for Mr. Hughes here that we signed from the Lions, it's a solid signing, but hopefully Darius Williams can heal up as fast as possible because he is another key piece for us being playoff relevant, just like Jonah Jackson. So hopefully he comes back soon too, though, man. Shoosh.
And you like the Jerry Jacobs signing too, right, Paul?
Did I say Hughes? Sorry, Jacobs. I know, I just caught myself right now when you said that.
So I thought the timing was perfect. So when they were releasing him, I mean, it was well publicized about his connection to Aubrey Pleasant. Yeah. And I think it was like not even 48 hours. They said that he's going to sign with the Rams. So, I mean, he brings nice size, 5'11", 200, good productivity. The criticism was that he's awfully grabby. But, I think the Lions secondary as a whole last year was, fighting for dear life half the time, right? They had a lot of guys out of position and there were a lot of injuries, et cetera. So, I think he's going to fit in nicely. Nice balance of size and quickness. He's been productive and he has a ton of experience. And I think that's the key. He's a veteran. They're getting a veteran on the cheap. Those are the moves that we talk about come playoff time. And when you reflect back, you're like, wow, that was a very significant move. And go ahead.
No, I was going to change the subject, but you're not done. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think when we look back at this, if he stays healthy, and we look back at this move, I think he's going to play a lot for the Rams. I really do.
And speaking about that secondary, I think I shared with one of you, or maybe both of you, one of the writers stated that Cameron Curl could see some time playing the slot, which was news to me. And as Paul, I think it was you that said that he somewhere was it in college or in the NFL had actually played the slot a little bit.
He had played corner. He was originally a corner. He had spent a lot of time at corner and at safety. So, but that just goes to show you the talent level. When they signed him, the first thing in the media release was he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was the only safety last year that had an 80 or higher rating in all three dimensions, run defense, tackling, and pass defense. He was the only safety. I thought that was really, really interesting. Yeah. So, and I think the issue with Curl is that he's so talented, right? And there's so much potential there. It's like they want to maximize his ability. They had a great interview with him, and they were trying to, get him to like spill the beans on how he's going to be utilized. And he like knew slivers of information about Shula and the new defensive dial-up. And he just said two things. He says, Shula wants me to make plays and rip at the ball. So you know what that tells me? He's going to be playing in the box. They're telling him rip at the ball, right? Turnovers, right? So throw that body around, which is what he loves. Curl has said that. He loves to throw that body around. So, right again, we've been talking about it. I know they play a lot of interchangeable safeties. I think he's going to play at that safety that walks down a lot. But, Lake is – that we've been talking about it. Lake is also the X factor. He's that good. You can't overlook him. So, they have a lot of flexibility. This is a win-win scenario. Just finding a scheme that can maximize the abilities of these young players. That's going to be Shula's. You talk about having a tough chore. He's got to find a way to make these chess pieces fit. And he's got a lot of talented chess pieces. So
yeah, gentlemen, Chris Shula said phenomenal things about Cameron Curl the other day. He was like, he's been fantastic. And he said, you would never know that this is his first time in this type of scheme, the Fangio scheme. And he says, teammates are impressed, coaches are impressed, and he is as advertised. And that's a great sign. I mean, we signed him so cheap, guys. We signed him so cheap. I mean, I expect him to be a great, great addition to this team. And gosh, the DB room could be great. Just injuries, please, football gods, just chill. Just chill on this. And luckily, Trey White has been cleared, and he's been pretty much full go, speaking of injured guys. And that's another person that Chris Shula and the coaching staff and players can't stop talking about either, how he's been so sticky in coverage. His speed hasn't diminished. He's running with Tutu. I've seen clips where he's running hip on hip with, the fastest receiver on our team and one of the fastest wide receivers in the league, I think, young Tutu there. And teammates were shocked and happy that even Trey White signed that he had talked about. And, Trey chose us, he had said, because he felt wanted. And it seems like he's playing like he's on a wanted organization, right? And I'm happy about him. Curl, hopefully D-Will comes back. And man, oh man, gentlemen, the season could be fun. We just got to fingers crossed on some people, right? Shoot.
Yeah. When's the last time we said we would have this type of depth for the Rams secondary? When's the last time we've used those terms in the same sentence? Depth and secondary for the Rams. This is a really, really nice scenario thus far. If T. White is ready for week 1, wow, that is best case scenario.
Yep, sounds like he's performing well in practice, man. So let's thank God.
And that was the next guy I was going to talk about, and we got to it pretty good there. And we just have to remind ourselves, there's some things happening in camp that are a little concerning, the injuries and such, but there's some good things happening too, right? So we can be hopeful. Yeah. If Trey White is 100% on day 1 and D-Will is good to go on day 1, hey, we'll be okay back there, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So, hey, changing gears here a little bit. One of you told me, I think it was Paul, did you say that Todd Gurley was in camp today?
TG30 was TG30 was in the house.
That's so good to hear. Yeah,
he had a great video of him walking in and dapping up Rampage. He had a smile on his face. Well, we had talked about, what was it, 2 weeks ago, man? How great it was when he had that really positive interview, and he said, he's got no ill will. And I think it's great to see him. These players have sacrificed a lot, for the franchise. So regardless of how it ended, we've talked about that before, like with Dickerson and everything else. But to see him walk in, that's a boost all around. That's a boost for the franchise, for the fans, for the current players, and I think it's also a boost for Gurley, man. Because I gotta tell you, you could see it in his face. He loves the Rams. This is his home. So welcome back, big dog.
Yeah, guys. It ended so poorly. Let's just be honest and call it what it is. The injury stuff was very, what do I want to say, hidden, right? And that's the Rams do. We try to keep things in house, and I respect that. There was people were noticing the Gurley thing, right? The end of 2018 season when we had to sign CJ Anderson off the street, which that was a great signing, but still that was like, whoa, why is Gurley not playing? What's up with his knee? Then obviously he had a good Super Bowl run. He had a great game against Dallas. He had some good runs in the NFC Championship and then wasn't utilized enough in the Super Bowl. Offensive day was just terrible in general. And then the following year, he scored a lot of touchdowns, but there was something missing, but he was still a Pro Bowl level running back. And then that was it. Had that one weird year with the Falcons, and then no more Todd Gurley in the NFL. And it just ended so poorly. He signed that contract, played under it for like 2 years, maybe, like of that extended contract that we gave him, some of the biggest money in NFL history at the time for the running back position. And there was animosity. You could feel it. Todd Gurley was pissed. Of course, who wouldn't be, man? And I'm glad that those things are over with. Yes, Paul, we did hear the interview where he said that, but players, they're trained just like they are when they're playing days. They have the politically correct answers, which is nice, but a lot of players withhold how they really feel. And for Gurley to show up at training camp today, back with the Rams, talking with Tony Pastores, who gave him that big old contract, talking with the former players, talking with McVay, I'm glad that it seems that all that bad energy that was back in 2019, 2020 is gone. And I'm happy to see that, feel that, and Rams legend now here in LA, Mark, right? Shoot, dude.
Yeah. I have said over and over again, if there's one player that turned this franchise around, it's Todd Gurley. I mean, Sean McVay obviously had a lot to do with it, but without Todd Gurley, those first couple of years in LA, I don't know, man.
Yeah. It would have been bleak. It would have been bleak.
Yeah. And he's just so special. There's a couple of, I can still visualize a couple of his plays, that run against Seattle late in the first half up there in Seattle. I think it made it 35-0. And then that catch and run against Dallas, man, so many great moments. And hey, maybe he's got Blake Corum's and Kyron Williams' ear a little bit. That can only help, right?
And speaking of that, I hope he talks to the organization for next year to switch back to the uniforms in my background here.
Those are the 5 uniforms.
I mean, look, I did a little edit so the helmet shell matches so Rams jersey never matched the helmet shell color. The helmet shell was always a navy blue, and then the jerseys were always royal. Paint issues back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, right? And then out of tradition, the Rams never altered it when we got approved for the throwbacks in the 17, 18, and 19 season. But hey, everybody, if you're not on YouTube checking out our page, check out this video and see what I'm talking about in the background. You can see the helmet shell color and the jersey are both royal blue. It looks great, and I hope in 2025, when the uniform redesign period or halting period is over, where teams can rebrand their logos, uniforms, anything they want, which again is the next season, 2025. Come on, Rams. Just do the right thing. Bring back the best uniforms in American sports, world sports history. I saw that in LA Times not long ago. I think in the 70s or 80s, every uniform got ranked in the entire world, and Rams are in the top 5. Let's do the right thing. Anyway, just want to share that real quick.
The classic California. They're called the classic California colors. And going back to TG30, I don't think it's coincidental. I think it just reflects the positive buzz that is around this team right now. I just think everything, there's so much positive karma. Everyone's excited about the season. Everyone's saying the right things. You just see everybody's body language is positive. So I think, there's a natural draw. I think McVay, in his interview, that extended interview that was on about a week ago, I think you really saw that. He talked about that. I think everybody has really sort of exercised their demons, and they're all in. And one thing I want to highlight is if you see the Aaron Kyron's recent video, and a couple of other players have said it, they are talking about from week 1, they're talking about the game in week 1. They're like, we should have won Aaron Kyron said this. We should have won it in the playoffs, and we are geared up to win it this opening season, first game for the opening season. And I like that mentality, man. No breaks, full speed. Let's pick up momentum. Let's go all in, and let's just let's do it right from week 1. So I think TG30 walking in there, That's really what this is all about. I think the team's in a really, really great place. Knock on wood, we got to stay healthy, and hopefully, we won't have too many season-ending injuries.
Yeah. And that Lion-Rams game Sunday night, that's looking like a really attractive game. There's going to be a lot of eyes on that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, gentlemen, the NFL was right to put this on Sunday Night Football. I mean, come on, man. Anyway, Jesus.
Hey, you're Paul, talking about how the vibe in this camp and the surge of positive thoughts about this team might have something to do with, was it Tom that sent us a text? The surge in their Super Bowl odds went from 35-1 to 28-1 in like a week.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
hopefully you already placed your bet, but
I think it's training camp. Training camp is early. Everybody looks great in training camp. Every team looks great in training camp.
Yeah.
Right. The idea is to get everybody up to speed and to get sort of like install some of those core principles on offense, defense, and special teams. Work out as much as you can so you hit the ground running. Right. It's always a positive progression from week one all the way to the big dance. And that's the way you have to look at it. Ian remembers what they used to say in practice, right? Be 1% better every day and you'll be fine. That's an easy goal, right? And so, and that's what it's all about. And just as a side update, shout out to the Ramley, member of the Ramley, Brian Allen. It was reported today that he's going to go on IR. Lower leg injury. It's a shame.
Cleveland Browns, right? That's who he's with right now. Yeah.
Dude was a beast, man. But always a member of the Ramelia. So hopefully it's not too serious. He'll be back. And there's a long shot that he could make it back for this season too. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, sucks.
Hey, Ian,
yes.
You wanted to talk Stafford's contract. A lot of confusion about it, and I've avoided talking about it because I'm probably just going to muck it up. So I'll let you talk us through this. How's this new contract work?
Well, after all the hoopla and all the, what's going to happen, what is the drama? Is there drama? Oh, there is drama. All the stuff that's been going on. And obviously we know that Stafford's agent, his family, whoever you want to name, was pushing for him to get more guarantees. Rightfully so. He didn't have much guarantees at all. What is it, $15 million for the last couple of years, if I'm not mistaken? It's not a lot for one of the, a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And especially with the quarterback, Tua getting mega money, hasn't done much. Jordan Love had half a good year, got generational mega money. So you can't knock Stafford for seeing all these quarterbacks the last, half a year just get super paychecks where they haven't done anything close to what Matthew's done. So based on all that, from my understanding, is that the guarantees weren't that crazy, right, gentlemen? I was expecting serious guarantees for the foreseeable future. But correct me if I'm wrong on this. I'm going off the hip here, Paul. It's $5 million this year in additional guarantees, and then $4 million next season in additional guarantees, right? That's super minute. Even if I'm wrong on the flip-flop, you can correct me, please.
No, you're spot on. It's 5 up front in 2024, pushed up from the latter contract year, and they will bump his 2025 roster bonus from $5 to $9 million.
It's nothing,
everything else stays the same. Yeah,
that's nothing. And guys, ESPN LA is pretty connected to all the sports teams out here in Los Angeles. Shocker. But they have good ties to the Rams, and they have their sources, quote unquote. A lot of Rams people inside the building were fully expecting Stafford to hold out if an agreement wasn't reached with the guarantees. And based on the guarantees being this minute compared to what I'm sure he was looking for, and even Stafford kind of slipped up, I think, a little bit in his press conference the other day where they asked him about, the status of all that, the conversations, and he caught himself saying, yeah, disagree. And then he stopped. He's like, no, this conversation. So he even knows that there was a tug and pull from both sides. And Sean McVay was reported to be in person during those negotiations. So a lot of hard conversations were had based on McVay's comments, based on Stafford's non-comments or comments he held back or started to say, based on the insider stuff, based on a lot of stuff. So it wasn't just about money. It was probably about the guarantee that he will be the quarterback for the foreseeable future. They will not cut ties with him because the Rams are infamous for cutting ties with players no matter what their contract status is. The Rams do not care. The man in my background, Gurley, has been a cap casualty out of nowhere. We can go down on all the list of players. Stafford will be no different, even though it would be insane. But he's no dummy. He knows that the Rams have the guts to do crazy stuff like that. So happy he got more guarantees. Happy he's here. I heard he had a great day. His first day of pads, he was slinging it like top 5 quarterback. We all know he is. But man, oh man, gentlemen, there was a lot of drama. And I think the guarantees being so low shows that it was very much a football thing more than a money thing, which, hey, I'm glad it got figured out, right?
So another thing on my list here to discuss, you guys were sharing with me that there is a growing what do we call tendency among Ram players slimming down, not necessarily just being more svelte. Talk to me about that, Paul. What's going on in camp there? I know Puka and Ernest Jones have both talked about this.
So Puka was hysterical. He was sharing that he cut out all fast food, and I was astonished when he shared what his diet was. And he was a frequent visitor to the drive-through last year and years prior. So what he, after working out with Cooper Kupp, what's going to happen. So he was showing off his abs. Cooper Kupp was saying that Puka's walking around showing off his abs now and things like that. He's about they're saying somewhere like 8 to 10 pounds lighter, but he's just packed on so much more muscle. So that's fantastic. Just think about you want to give Puka nails more quickness. Wow, right? You want to make Puka nails stronger. Holy cow! So I think that's a great thing. I think that's the commitment to getting better. One of the things he said is he's very much aware of the sophomore slump, and he wants to make sure he does not fall victim to that. I don't think he will. I think Puka's going to still continue to put up some sick numbers. Those of you out there in fantasy land, he's a safe pick. Don't worry about it. He's definitely going to get heavy volume. But the interesting conversation, 2 players in general, and Ian, feel free to chime in at any time, was Ernest Jones. So when the EJ, as always, fantastic interview. Very insightful, very just mature in everything and how he just approaches everything. But he's saying that he dropped 5 to 8 pounds because he's going to be blitzing. He was really, really excited that last year they allowed him to blitz a lot more. And he said,
good at it too.
Absolutely. I mean, that changed the dynamic of the Rams defense. I'll be very honest with you. That really did. And he shared that it's in the game plan that he's going to be blitzing a lot, and it makes a lot of sense with that D line that they have up front. I mean, they're going to be great opportunities for Jones just to hit those gaps and go after the quarterback. So he's looking to add a little bit of quickness. He's already in great shape, so I think that's important. The other aspect of it is Monster Zero has actually put on weight, so they're saying he's put on 10 pounds. And it's interesting, and probably because I'm just extrapolating this, is that usually when a player puts on that much weight and they've played the weak side, they're probably moving to the strong side. So maybe this is the ability to have him be able to play both sides on the outside linebacker position. So I think that makes a lot of sense. But if you see him now, he looks like an absolute monster. Holy cow.
We're talking about Byron Young.
Monster Zero. Yeah, he looks like an absolute monster. He looks huge. And Jared Verse, it's early in camp. Jared Verse has been, everything I've seen on video, he's been largely on the right side. But if you think about it, if Monster Zero can play both sides, once again, flexibility, being able to go after the other team's weakness. They might have a right tackle they want to exploit as opposed to a left tackle. Who knows? This just gives the defense that much flexibility. But those 3 players went from the weight scenario. Those 3 jumped out right at me when I heard about them talking about, the physiques.
Any thoughts on that, Ian?
Yeah. I mean, again, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Ernest Jones, Michael Hoyt, Byron Young,
Williams.
Kyron Williams. They've all emphasized about getting stronger and faster. All of them. And obviously, Michael Hoyt's more slimmed down, gain more muscle. Ernest slimmed down, gain more muscle. In the same with Cup, Puka, Kyron, same thing. It's all about burning body fat and then just building the muscle with all these guys. And this team wants to hit people, but still be able to run by you, defense and offense. And I think that's a great formula for any football team. So it seems like our athletic trainers are dietitians on the team. I know McVay had talked about switching the team dietitian, the cook, the chefs, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, Reggie Scott and his team have done a great job, keeping everybody as fresh as humanly possible. So it seems like those two sides of the most important, right? Your body, how you feel, how it performs, the most important outside of the mental aspect of the game. It seems like things are coming together nicely for this Rams football team. So.
But are
this
we
is for Hollywood Hoyt, baby?
Are we concerned that Braden Fisk is hiding out in a corner eating all the Mexican food, though, from what I hear?
Well, he can eat whatever he wants, because I hear he's kicking some ass in Rams.
Dude, he's
practice,
unblockable. They're saying he's unblockable.
What did he want, Mark? What is he like? Excuse me. Like birria and some I forgot what else he had mentioned. I guess there's some spots like a birria and taco spot or birria and pozole spot, something like that.
That's his favorite food, Mexican
whatever.
food.
Hey, feed him whatever he needs to keep kicking ass, like I've been hearing he's been doing. So shout out to Braden. I mean, anyone who's not from Los Angeles or any Hispanic, community or city anywhere in the world, it is a positive culture shock where you come to a place that has great, Hispanic cuisine, Mexican cuisine specifically. And, LA, man, outside of the motherland of Mexico, so people like to say, LA's got the next best thing, or sometimes even better, some people will say. So I'm glad Braden and his lady have figured it out pretty fast in a short time here.
Yeah,
if you want to talk about weight and performance, you got to talk about the player that everybody's talking about. Who is our right guard?
Oh, Mr. Dotson.
Kevin Dotson.
Yeah. Dotson. Everybody has said unequivocally that the best player in camp has been Dotson. You talk about validating that investment so far. We don't want to jinx it, obviously, right? We want the big dog to stay healthy. The dude has just been picked up right where he left off. He's an immovable object, just brute force, right? It's just you have to smile. Iron Kyron's smiling, right? Blake the Great is smiling, right? Power right all day long. That's all they got to do. But talk about just players that are just right now just excelling in camp. Hey, Dotson's name is on the top of the list right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To one last comment on the Mexican food topic, I was in Florida, northern Florida, outside of Jacksonville for a week or two. This is 6-7 years ago, and we were driving by this Mexican restaurant every day. And I said, "Hey, we got to try it." And my partners told me, they were somewhat local, and they said, "You're not going to like it. You're from SoCal. You're not going to like it." And we finally tried it, and they were spot on. I didn't like it. It was nothing close to what I'm used to here in SoCal. So
Tutu said the same thing in his interview. They asked him Miami versus LA in terms of Mexican food. He said LA, no doubt about it.
Well, Florida, especially Miami, they have a lot more of South American cuisine. So it's
Cuban influence. Yeah,
very very different than desert Mexican food, right? Or North American Latin food, right? Like some people like to say as well. So Mark, your taste buds didn't lie to you, and Tutu's did not either. And
it was quite bizarre actually, because I had never experienced that. You're pretty you're gonna get pretty consistently good Mexican food anywhere in Southern California. I don't know I'm not even sure what bad Mexican food is around here. But 1 out of 1 in Florida was not good. So, hey, we covered just about everything, man. We covered the Madden ratings, some player news, injuries, the contract for Stafford, Todd Gurley, the Fisk factor, Mexican food. I don't know if there's anything else to talk about, guys.
Oh, you know what? There is something else to talk about. Now I'm just blanking. There seems to be a nickname within the Rams building for Jared Verse. I know we have 8-bar Verse here, but V8, a lot of the personnel there at Rams land like to say and call Jared Verse number 8. And I like that one too, man. A-bar verse, V8, both sound sick. V8 for the engine, A-bar verse for the,
bars,
for the artistic bars, right? The rap side of things, that's very artistic and cool as well. So, hey, whatever nickname we hear.
When you're playing next to the conductor, you got to go with bars, man.
Yeah, I know. I agree. So,
yeah, I see some sponsorships ahead for him, maybe.
Oh, yeah. And I did like how it finally got confirmed why he chose number 8. It was not a shock. It was Kobe inspired because he wanted to be number 5, but Tutu, being the senior veteran on this team with the number 5, his final year of his contract, which is pretty crazy to think about, young Tutu. He cannot get number 5, so he said, "Hey, what's the next best thing out here in LA?" And he said, "I'll choose that number 8." Respect to the Mamba mentality, and I respect that too. So I expect A-bar verse, V8, Jared verse.
Yeah, as a somewhat regular drinker of V8, I kind of like it. No problem with that.
And a shout out for Bars. This is for you. Shout out to your sister Maya Verse. For those of you that don't know, Bars' sister is I think a sophomore out of Georgia. She hoops. Apparently she can dunk. It plays no surprise. She plays a monster defense. So good luck. She wears number 4. So good luck this year. And like I said before, and my text to the crew, that is some serious family DNA over there.
Hey man, we always hear about everyone's family members being genetic athletic monsters. I mean, to play in this league, you gotta have some freakish genes to you. So no shock the siblings are pretty baller too, right?
Right. And yeah, that kind of ties into the fact that the Rams are always drafting these guys that are coaches' sons and dads played in the NFL and so on. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a good time, guys. Let's do this again in a week if you're up to it.
Of course.
Hopefully it'll be all good news next week. And
I hope so, dang it.
Yeah. And I actually next am I doing this? Am I looking at my calendar right? Next Tuesday we could maybe talk a little bit about their first preseason game, right? That would be just around the corner.
Yep, it's coming up, man. We're going to see a lot of fun stuff, and geez Louise, I mean,
yeah,
joint practices, that's what I'm most excited about, right, gentlemen? Joint practices, when that starts kicking up soon, I'll be tuned in to those news updates during the practices.
I should have that in front of me. That's the Cowboys and the Chargers here real soon, right? And then the Chargers again.
Yeah, right. And then Houston later down the road, and that's some good practice games, outside of the preseason games, those joint practice scrimmages. So tune in, everybody. Tune into those updates. That matters the most. Sorry to cut you off, Mark.
We're going to see McVay and Harbaugh hitting the sleds, right? That's what we're going to see probably.
Yeah, arm wrestling match, Harbaugh and McVay.
Yeah,
I'm down for Swole McVay. I got money on my coach.
Okay, guys. Hey, man, thanks a lot for your time. It's a lot of fun. Let's do this again in a week, if not sooner. Out here from Rams Up, and let me say it because I always forget, and Ian and Paul always cover for me. Please like and subscribe to this channel. If you're on the YouTube channel, it really helps us out. Out here from Rams Up.
Rock on, Ram Nation. Rock on.
Positive vibes, Rams. Send it to all the players who are dealing with some type of injury, whatever it is. Send those horns up. Good positive energy, please.
You got it. Out here. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.